Hey guys, Knurrot here, and today we have a third place OTS Championship deck profile. It's pure pranks, and with us is Niklas. So, Niklas, can you tell us something about you?
Yeah, okay, I play Yu-Gi-Oh for like a real long time, and like I topped the YCS, the last real life one, and some regionals and extravaganzas here and there. And today I can show you my deck profile of an OTS championship from last weekend.
Okay, so why did you go with pranks?
So I played VW for a long time, and the biggest problem was always I bricked a lot. And in this deck, it is basically impossible to brick. So
Yeah,
if
it's
I
like
lose against engines, it's okay. But if I lose against myself, it's yeah, very salty for me.
yeah, it's like 92% or something to
Yeah,
open a name in pranks. All right, how many prank name did you play? I guess we can just go into like the deck profile and you
yeah.
show us like the engine cards, and then we can see how many names you got.
Okay, I play three of every prank actually. I
Okay.
played free rock because I play with polys and you need like
Mm-hmm.
two pranks to make it work.
Yeah.
And of course free plays because like it plays through Ash.
Okay, so you
That's
just play full
yeah, yeah,
consistency. Okay, this is like
exactly.
16, I guess?
16 names, yes.
16 names, yeah, that's a lot. All right, so that's for the prank names.
Okay, because I don't play Brave, I maxed out on other power cards, namely
Mm-hmm.
Poly. Poly allows you to go into Toad, and Toad is like a worse Brave engine because you can still put up a negate.
Also helps you play
Pandemonium.
through disruption, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Having poly.
it's one of the biggest problems of this deck is playing through back rows actually, because like if you get
Mm-hmm.
Solemn or something, you lose so much advantage.
Yeah.
And with those cards, you can kind of have so much power that he cannot stop you with just one or two back rows.
How often do you like poly just straight from hand, and how often do you try to go into Meow Meow before to conceal the
Um,
fact that you have poly?
if I have the field spell, I usually still normal summon before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like most of the time, especially going second, you just throw the poly because if he negates, he does, and if not, you have like super plus.
Mm-hmm.
And you can like always still use your normal summon after.
All right.
Okay. I played two pranks. I picked the deck up like kinda 2 weeks ago, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought if I do a lot of mistakes, I need a second one. Also, Ghost Ogre's played at the moment in main decks, and that kinda gets you out of the engine if this gets ogred because you lose a lot of names in deck over long term.
Yeah.
So I played two. It's a free search anyway and a bad extender if you want to say so.
You usually cut the second pranks if you want to fit the Brave
If
engine, right?
Yeah, yeah. You
Because
also don't play the polys, of course, and you
yeah,
cut Pandemonium to two.
and like the Brave engine eats the ogre anyway, right? So you only need one pranks.
Yes. Okay. Then for power one-offs, I played Instant Fusion, Reborn, and Called by the Grave.
Hmm.
Um, those kind of function the same way. If you just have one name, you just normal it, use Instant Fusion, summon it out, link it, both of them off into Doodle, and Reborn. You go for the link one, summon it back, then go for Doodle, and then use the effect to play around Ash, and like Cold, of course,
Yeah.
plays around almost every hand. Then one Thunder Dragon Fusion. This is actually kind of neat because you can shuffle like all your names back and then go into Butler. So you can recycle a lot with pranks, especially in end phase. You can just recycle 6 cards and still go into your boss monster. So
Hmm.
it's a lot. And of course, the follow up in graveyard
Yeah.
can be very good. I just played only 12 hand traps.
Hmm.
You need to see two against the base pile deck. But against other decks, you usually only want to see one and like poly and names to play through the last remaining interruptions. I think like Ogre is necessary against Brave. Nibiru is like high impact, especially for like a not too big a tournament. People are like not that good like at a YCS, so they
Hmm.
play into Nib oftentimes. And Ash and Valor are yeah, the most generic interrupts. I played Valor over Imperm because you can draw into it with pranks in the end phase, and Imperm would be dead if you draw into it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I just go with the extra now.
Yeah. Sure.
So like I said, I picked up the deck not too like only 2 weeks ago or something. So I play a second ride. Also, I play 6 polys and instant fusion. So it can come up that you need to summon a second one,
Mhm.
especially going second if you like if your opponent has DP or something, it just pops the first one, then you can go into second one and still
Yeah.
do your stuff. A washer is like if your bar gets negated with cold bar or something, or if you just don't want to die, you just go into it and have like
Mhm.
indestructible monsters. So that's it for the fusions. Then one rooster. This is like pretty insane against background rogue decks. Of course, they always have a lot of background. This is hard to counter because you don't want to strike it, really. Of course, either
Mhm.
you strike the doodle or something. Um, or you just do it in end phase anyway. Yeah,
How
and
often did
that's
it
like
come up?
twice, I guess. I played against some backrow decks,
Mhm.
so it comes up kinda a lot against those.
This is good to have.
Yeah. Then Bark, of course, for the end board you only need
Mhm.
one. Even if you're bad with this deck, you should only need one.
Yeah.
Then free doodle, this is a necessity, and one meow, of course, limited.
Yeah.
Then, of course, it's budget. I don't play Exoscourge or something like that. I just play Phoenix for going second to out anti-spell, for example.
Mhm.
Then Virtual Link Spider for the Thunder Dragon fusion.
Yeah.
Because you play pranks, you oftentimes have a normal monster and then just go for Link Spider.
Mhm.
And last card is Toad. Like I said, it's kinda to like still putting up some negates. Brave is of course very good in this deck. It's not the best deck to make use out of the Brave engine, but you can chain block Ash, put up a negate. It's very good going second. If
Yeah.
you have the money, you should definitely play Brave.
Toad basically just like is the only thing you can add to your standard board, right? It's like you
Yes,
don't do much more.
also it plays around Nip. This is like,
Yeah.
but only if you open really good.
Yeah.
Nip kind of fucks with this deck, to be honest. Then for the side deck, I used Pax Handrop Logic in playing 2 Lanciers, 2 Token Collectors, the Gamba Package, and Imperm.
Mhm.
Against combo decks, you always side in those 6 going second, and
Yeah.
depending on the matchup, you side in like one of these.
Mhm.
Against the base deck or Schwarzel, you can side in this, and against PK, you side in Lancier. Also against VW, Lancier is pretty good because they kind of can't search with their spell, they can't modulate the levels, and if they start with the Water Enchantress, they can't go into the Brave engine because you
They
just
also
shotgun it. Yeah.
they also can set up Chuche.
Yeah,
That's
like
really
Chuchi
good.
is
Yeah.
Chuchi is huge because you need to
Yeah.
open a poly to play around it.
Yeah.
And then the last cards are just because it's like smaller tournament, people are more likely to play backrow decks. And then I just played 5 back removal.
Mhm.
Cosmic, in my opinion, at the moment is the best back removal because, like, against worse DPE Scythe decks, you can banish the Scythe, like, for example, Eldritch or Striker. And Pancratops and Dredge would kind of play around anti-spell. And also, like, it's the highest impact cards because Feather Duster, it's like not like a Pancratops. Pancratops is unique in the things he does. And Retribute is, of course, a broken card because it shuts down an entire card type.
Yeah, Pancratox just being so big also like forces stuff in the battle phase. You just attack something, they have to react, and then you can
This
dodge.
is also pretty huge against DP because people are very likely to summon it in defense. And then you just summon attack. He
Yeah.
has to use the effect. You can tribute, pop a card, and then he has to
Mhm.
pop like 2 of his cards.
Yeah.
That's pretty huge.
Right.
So that's it with the deck. I guess I played against Striker DPE. That
Mhm.
was the first game, and I realized DPE is a huge problem for this deck.
Yeah.
I still won, although he nipped me 4 times. It was very rough, but I won. Then I played against the based pile deck. I lost it one. I lost the dice roll. Didn't see a hand trap. And
Yikes.
then in game 2 he did the ghost mourner on my butler and forced it out. And then I
Mhm.
had like 1 ash against 4 hand cards or something, and then I lost.
Mhm.
Then I played against Exorcist. It's not a really good deck, but if you have to read every card, it's kind of annoying. Also, they have like a very weird card, which is like Abyss Dweller, and you cannot special summon from graveyard, and this is kind of bad because I think you can move cards actually. Like it's very good against Prankets if you think about it.
Oh yeah, the Exorcist theme is like the opponent can't use the grave or something, right? It's really anti-graveyard. I think I
Yeah,
just read over the cards. Yeah.
and they can banish cards like they can just banish your normal summon. And I also bricked one game against them, so it was actually not that easy.
Yeah.
I also played against Plunder Brave. I think the deck is really interesting because you can play really good against Scythe, because you don't need your extra deck in that
Yeah.
turn. But against this deck, I think I won the dice roll. It was kind of easy, to be honest. Then I played against Eldritch 60 cards, Cybers, Sense, DPE, Pile, dot deck. It was like, I think he won the dice roll. He set Juan Cueto and Imperm, just played through that with Poly. Game 2, I had Effect Veiler, a small hand trap. He went for Verte. He could not go into Scythe. I Veilered the Verte. Then he used the second Fusion Destiny from his hand. It was kind of interesting. But then I forced the DPE and summoned the Weather Washer because he still left his DP on field. And then I could just easily out it and negate the Celestial Wolf number Ash I had. That was kind of funny. And the last game was against Try DPE with the Birds. I lost the dice roll. I opened 3 hand traps game 1 and went second, but I had no engine, so still lost that. Then game 2, I went first, went for Butler. I think I had another Ash or something. That was just easy game. And game 3, that was actually very funny. We were like 2 minutes before time. And he just had to play and then go battle phase. But he went for exactly 5 summons, and I had 1 nip because he called bite my bark in the standby phase. I could not fuse. And then he went for exactly 5 summons. I could use nip, could not bring out DP, so I had follow up, and then I just OTK'd him in like 1 minute. That was very interesting. Yeah, but we only played 6 rounds. It was like 40 or 50-minute event. So not that big, not that big like the regionals in the old days.
Is there any change you would make to the deck, like after the tourney?
Yes, there are. I think 12 hand traps with the Fury of Peck are fine, but in this deck you definitely can run more, so you might just use the ability or the opportunity. This was great, but I would not bump it up.
Yeah.
Those are standard. I will cut 1 pranks. You don't need it that much if you learn to grind with this deck.
Yeah, probably.
I played a lot before, but still made misplays, and over the course of the tournament, I got much better because if you like actually have the cards in hand, you know what to do with them at some point. This is amazing. If you don't have Brave, you should max out on these.
Yeah.
And you could maybe cut 1 Roxy's.
Yeah.
I think the difference between 16 or 15 names is like 1 or 2%.
Yeah, it's not that high.
You definitely can run 2 more hand traps, because with 14 hand traps you have like the highest chance to open 2 at max, and then you can still side in a lot.
Yeah. Which hand traps would you put in?
Either Imperm, because Imperm is in this deck a worst copy of Veiler, or I guess Ghostbell or something, because it kind of deals with the Brave engine. Of course, you can negate the level 3 one.
Yeah.
I think those are the only 2 hand traps I think make sense in this deck.
All right.
And you can just cut 1 of these for access code if you want to.
Just because we talk budget on this list, how much did like the deck cost? Like just not counting like the ashes and stuff, like because obviously ash you should probably own if you have them. Like...
I did not want to play the gold rare of this, so it was a little bit more expensive, but it was like 35 euros because Rooster is still 10 bucks.
Yeah.
I had Verte and stuff. Oh, Toad was actually 10 euros. Verte is 10 euros.
Wait, Rooster went to 10 bucks?
Something about yeah, I think so actually.
I picked my Rooster up for like €1.
I mean, he was the only one to not get the
Not
reprint,
really the reprint, yeah.
and the rest is like
Yeah.
literally rare.
Yeah, that was before Brave Engine though, so probably nobody wants to play Pranks.
Yeah, Pranks before Brave is basically this deck, but
Yeah.
the spot of this deck is actually pretty good.
Yeah, because you can play so many hand traps, right? And hand traps are
Also,
like either you play Brave or you play hand trap turbo.
yeah,
Kinda.
that's why I said you should add more hand trap. But if
Yeah.
you just end on Butler with nothing else, you can use one Butler effect to beat the Brave engine. Then you have still one more Butler effect for the actually engine.
Mhm.
And if they go into like, for example, the pile, like if they go into the hull combos, you can just destroy everything, and then they
Yeah.
have to have like a decent hand to still play through that.
Mhm.
And if you combine that with like a Ghost Ogre to like not waste the effect on the Brave engine,
Yeah.
you can just easily win, I guess.
Yeah. Playing through two butlers, tough. All right. Thank you very much. Enjoyed the deck profile, and leave some comments below, guys, if you have questions for the deck or anything. And I'll see you guys next time.